Welcome to Blender Frenzy. I am Justin, finally back with you here again, and it kind of looks like I'm in the mountains, which is funny and cool. But anyway, yes, I have been away again for a stretch. Um, but some of you probably saw my announcement video last Saturday where I mention Blender Frenzy courses. And somebody asked me, is this real? Or actually, they asked if I was teasing them. And I guess it's a bit of a tease, but yes, this is real. It's actually something I've been working on quite a bit for the past few months, and the main reason why I haven't been so active on YouTube. So if you want to know more about that, stick around after the video. But today I wanted to talk about some of the major user interface changes from Blender 2.80 to 2.81. Now I know, Blender 2.81 has been out for a while, and 2.82 is already just around the corner, but I still wanted to get something out about this before the 2.8 release. And I'm going to do it with Blender Frenzy's first course called Easy Borders. Now, I'm not going to go into detail what that is, but since I had to explain some of the user interface changes in the course, you'll get a little bit of a taste of what it's all about. So here it is. So if you've been following Blender 2.8, you know that we've had two releases out this year, and that is 2.80 and 2.81. So I've got two blenders pulled up here. That way I can just kind of click back and forth here and you can kind of see which one I'm working on. Okay, so 2.80, 2.81, they look almost exactly identical. And that's because they are for the most part. But the first thing I want to point out is that in 2.80, this viewport shading mode is called Look Dev. Now there's four viewport shading modes. We have wireframe, we have solid view, we have Look Dev in 2.80, and then we have the rendered. Okay, so the only thing that's changed is the name of Look Dev. It is now called, in 2.81, it is called Material Preview instead of Look Dev, which makes a lot more sense. Now, it isn't a different viewport shading mode, it's the exact same shading mode. So you still only have these four, it's just they've changed the name. So the next one is another name change here in the viewport. So up here we have our select mode, and if I click and hold on this select, now if you don't see this toolbar, you can press T as in Tom to show and hide that. But if I click and hold the top one, you see you have four different selection modes: select, select box, select circle, and select lasso. Well, they've changed the name of select. It's the exact same thing again. Basically, select is, let's enable our overlays. If I select, I can just click and drag and move that around with no problem. I can right click to cancel that. But basically, the select mode allows you to just click and drag right away. Any of the other select modes, you actually have to draw a select box. So select box, if I try to click and drag, it's just going to drag a box. So I can't just click and drag right away. I have to click and drag a box over the selection and then press G, and then I can move what I selected. I'm going to right click to cancel that. So that's what the select mode does, and that's the best selection mode for the Easy Borders course. So 2.81, it's the same thing, except for now it's called tweak instead of select, but it does the exact same thing. If I enable my overlay, just it allows you to click and drag stuff around straight away. So just a couple of name changes. The next one is the render display mode. So if I come to render and I go down to display mode here in 2.80, it's displayed right here. And then I can change these here. So I have mine on keep user interface, but this is where if you press render, if I click new window and I press F12 to render, it pulls up an entirely new window. If I close out of here and I go and I change that display mode to keep user interface and I press F12, then nothing happens because it just keeps the user interface. And I like to have this here because I have actually a border render tab that includes anything that I render. So go back to border simple here. And so that's what the display mode does. You can do full screen, image editor, new window, or keep user interface. In 2.81, they have moved that. So it's not a name change, but they've moved it. So if you go to render, and you will notice it is not here. And that threw me off a little bit. I'm like, did they get rid of the render modes? No, what? Well, no, they didn't get rid of them. They just moved them. And personally, I don't like it because it made sense to have it right here. Now it's a little bit more buried. You have to go to Edit, User Preferences, and then on your interface button up here, go down to Editors and Temporary Windows. So it's all the way nested in here. And here we go, Render In, and then you can see you have the same options as you did before. Again, I don't really like that so much because it's just a little bit more nested here. But that does bring me to the last thing that I want to mention, and that's the file browser. So by default, Blender 2.81 file browser is in a new window. I changed it to full screen, but I'll show you what the new window looks like if I close this. And now if I go to the file browser by opening or save as, is what I use it a lot for. So save as, it pops up an entirely new window for a new looking dialog box. Now let's go back to 2.80 and let's pull up our save as dialog box. And here we have what was the traditional look of the 2.7 series and before. So we have our navigation up here, new folder. We had our display modes here, our sorting here. And then way over here on the right, we have our filter, a search box, our save as. And then here, this is what I liked about the 2.80 and before, was that you had your path where you were going to save your file, and then you had your file name right underneath it. And I like that because we're so close together. And then here we also have the plus and the minus buttons to bump those iterations up or down. But let's go back over to 2.81 and we can see we have a separate window, and now it looks more like a Windows user interface, or even I guess some Linux distros, I'm sure, have it set up like this. But you still got your sidebar, which is pretty much the same. The navigation right here, we have our create a new directory, then our file path, and then right next to that we have got a search. This is very much like Windows. And then some of our other options over here are under these drop downs. So we've got our display modes, we've got our sorting here, and then next to it we have our filter options. And then right next to that we've got some more like a pop out, checkbox list here of sorts. Which you can open up by the in key. This is like the properties in Blender, which is on the right hand side. So that's pretty consistent. That's cool. I think does T, yeah, so T does the left hand side like the toolbar, and then N does the right side. But what I don't like is that you have your file name all the way down at the bottom. And I know, again, this is like Windows, but for some reason, I guess I'm just so used to having it right under the path, because you have your path, directory, and then you have your file name. It just makes sense to me. But now you have to go all the way down here, which it's not that big of a deal. I'm just lazy. So the other thing I don't like is the visuals here. So this plus and the minus, you can still click these and they still work, but they don't give you any visual cue. Like if I hover over it, nothing happens. If I click it, nothing happens visually. I mean, it still functions fine, but if I come back over to 2.80, you can see that if I hover over it, you can see it being highlighted, so I know which one that I'm actually hovering over. And then if I click it, you can see it highlighted in a blue, like I'm activating it or clicking it. So that, to me, was a good visual cue. Hopefully they change that in future versions. Okay, so those are some of the user interface changes between 2.80 and 2.81. And now, what the heck is Blender Frenzy Courses and Easy Borders? Well, Blender Frenzy Courses is the new course platform that I have been building for the past several months and am continuing to build, but for the most part, it's ready, almost ready. I'll get to that. And then what is Easy Borders? Well, all I can say is that if you're someone who wants to know how to make fast, easy title animations for your videos, then you might want to join me on my YouTube channel. Let's go small here. And you scroll down, you can see I have set up a premiere for this coming Saturday of my Easy Borders teaser trailer. So a Blender Frenzy's first course, and it says Blender Frenzy Courses presents Easy Borders, and it premieres on 1/25/20. That's this coming Saturday at 3 p.m. and that is Central Standard Time. So you need to do your own calculations. Central Standard is Chicago time. No, I don't live in Chicago, but I am in the same time zone. And all you have to do is click this reminder here to be reminded that it's coming up. Now you need to be signed in, of course, but it'll set a notification that will remind you on Saturday right before it's about to start. And let's go ahead and click in here, and this is what you should see. You should see the thumbnail, and you see it premieres in 2 days from now. This recording that I'm recording on, see, on Wednesday night for me. And then you can see over here, there's a chat feature, and that is because I will be here watching it live with you. Now, I'm not going to be live streaming, and the video is actually very short because it's just a teaser trailer, but I will be here chatting with you, answering any of the questions that you might have, or just shooting the breeze, whatever you want to do, because I have set aside that time for you since I've been gone for a while, and I thought it would be a cool introduction into the course. And I'll also tell you where the course platform is and where to get the easy borders and all of that good stuff. So if you join me there, Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Do your own calculations for wherever you are in the world. But yeah, I am super excited about this. As I always say, I'm super excited about everything. But no, this is something that I've been really working for, and it's only one of many more courses to come. And I will need a lot of your input to help me build those courses, as you'll see on Saturday. So, okay, I'm excited. See you there. Yes, I've said that already like a million times. And cue the outtakes. Boop. All right, 3, 2, 1. Boop. Welcome to Brender Frenzy. Boop. Now I know. I know. Boop. But I still thought I'd get this out before the 2.8 release is released. Release is released. Boop. And I'm gonna do it. Boop. And I'm gonna do it. Boop. With the Blender Frenzy's first course called Easy. Well, Blender Frenzy courses. Okay. And now, what the heck is Blender Frenzy courses? I don't know. What does it tell us? Just stare blankly, crazily into the camera. I'm good at doing that. Boop, 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 boop. Trying to get a good sound for the boops. Boop, 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 boop. Need to do manly boop. Boop, boop. Maybe I'll do that. Boop. That's what mans do. That's what manly mans do. Burp. Whatever.